I'm State Representative Wendi Thomas, and welcome here to Council Rock South. I had been a 10-year school director for Council Rock, and am very close to and passionate about the school district. But we're here today for the school safety program, and with the tragedies that we've had over the years, it's very, very important that we all educate ourselves as much as possible and that we all work together for the safety of our students. And with that, I'll let the others introduce themselves.
Good morning. I'm Research Specialist Jeffrey McGarry. I'm one of the researchers with the National Threat Assessment Center, which is a research center embedded within the Secret Service. We are embedded in a Detective Intelligence and Assessment Division. We are tasked with research, training, and consultations and information sharing in the area of threat assessment and preventing targeted violence. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm David Volkman. I'm Executive Deputy Secretary at the Pennsylvania Department of Education, and I serve on the Safety and Security Committee with PCCD and the other agencies.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Matt Weintraub, Bucks County District Attorney. Great to see you all this morning.
So with that, we'll open it for questions. Anyone in the press have a question? Go ahead.
Excellent question. Although I'm not great with, I'm a researcher, I'm not the greatest with numbers. We've done over thousands of trainings across the country in the context of school settings, workplace settings, as well as open areas, as well as trainings for our law enforcement partners and public safety partners.
I might add to that this is the updated report and information from 2019, correct? And this will be our region's first presentation of this information. Go ahead. That's you, right in the front.
Excellent question. So we've looked at our training, so our research looked at incidences from 2013, if I'm correct? 2008. From 2008 to 2018, we looked at attacks at schools, attacks in school settings that met our criteria. I hope that answers your question. And we applied our research is going to be applied to what's going on today, and it's going to be applied in various different school settings. As well as we can even apply it to workplace settings and other areas of open interest. Thank you. Sure. Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, I mean, the advice I want to give is the end of the day, this is about early prevention. And what we want to do is you want to identify troubled students early, before they even have developed an idea or thinking of wanting to commit any kind of harm, either to themselves or other. It's about intervening early, getting troubled people help before they even, have got to the point where they're thinking of wanting to commit some kind of act of violence against themselves or others. This is to reiterate how important it is for early intervention. We want to intervene early when students are showing signs of trouble. It can be as simple as seeing a student who has his head down that may be behavior that's not typically normal for a student. It could be simple as a teacher stepping in and saying, hey, is everything okay? And seeing if maybe the student might need some assistance in some way. This is about recognizing signs of trouble, having teachers and school administrators understanding and what signs of trouble looks like, what concerning behaviors may be, keeping the threshold relatively low so we can intervene early.
What? The question was about Safe to Say, so why don't we have Dr. Volkman talk a little bit about Safe to Say?
As you know, Safe to Say has been in effect now for over a year, and we have found it to be very effective in the work that we do. As a matter of fact, the information that comes to us through the Attorney General's office in Pennsylvania has been very helpful in terms of our reaching out and working with districts. And especially, we believe that based on Safe to Save, we have saved many lives. Because not only do you report potential threats, but you also deal with students who are really troubled with suicidal ideation and other kinds of issues outside the school and the community. So I think it makes our schools and our communities a lot safer.
Thank you. Next question, yes. So the question, I've been asked to start repeating the question so the audience who's also listening can hear them. To what extent have Pennsylvania school districts set up these recommended national assessment teams? Dr. Volkman?
So as you probably also know, under Act 18, we're required to develop threat assessment guidelines. And so what has happened now over the last 3 months, the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency, along with folks from the Department of Education, but specifically PCCD, have been very much engaged in developing these guidelines. And we actually, and I'll refer to the representative, I'll make sure she gets the information. There's a website you can now go on through the Department of Education. There's a link that actually takes you to the model guidelines. It also has PowerPoints to use with students in schools, and there's also a parent and guardian guide. So we've got multiple documents now, and a lot of this work was actually taken from the work that the Secret Service had done. It gave us our inspiration and our guidance as we put these documents together.
DA Weintraub, do you want to add anything about what we're doing in Bucks County?
Thank you, Representative Thomas. In Bucks County, one violent incident or attack in a school is too many. So there's no such thing as reporting too early. Unfortunately, we do get plenty of reports that we take each one very seriously if it concerns a student or a threat made against a student or towards a school. No matter how small that threat is. And I would say, this is anecdotal, but I'd say we're dealing with at least one a week. And although the behavior is criminal, we don't criminalize the student. We want to make sure that we get the student help. We do treat each and every one of these reports very seriously so that it does not turn into a deadly incident. But I would say that Bucks County, because of programs like this and other programs that already exist, Bucks County is a very safe place to have our children go to school. We're very fortunate here. But without programs like this, we would be a little less safe. So I'm grateful to participate here, and I just want to reassure everybody that if you see something or you hear something, trust your instincts. Even if you think it's premature, let us be the deciders. Because I am also convinced that we have saved many lives, even if it's a student, him or herself, just crying out for help for themselves. We've saved those lives as well. And sometimes those overt threats against others may just be a cry for help for themselves. But we take each one of those as an individual situation, and we try to help the person that's making that threat, as well as to make sure that everybody that might be engaged or implicated in it is safe and protected.
Thank you. I'd like to, at this time, we're going to take a few questions then after 9. Is that okay for you? Did you have one more question? So the question is, what kind of funding is needed for mental health support, as much of this points to mental health needs in our schools? Is that correct? So we don't have a local school official up here, but since I'm the state representative, I'm going to take a shot at funding. We absolutely need to take a look at what we can do to support mental health in our schools. Some of our schools have psychiatrists, social workers, nurses. They're doing the best they can with the training and the number of people they have, but based on the increased volume of mental health issues, there's a need for more people. I don't think that will surprise anybody, and more people costs more money. So it's an issue that the state needs to look at and see how they can support our local school districts. We can't just put requirements out on our school districts without funding. I know how that works. I sat on school board for 10 years. That's not a good model. So to that end, as a follow-up to this school safety program, I'm having a public hearing on mental health on February 13th, and look for some creative ideas to supplement people that can help with our students. Some states, like the state of Florida and a couple in New York, are doing some telepsychiatry. They call them pods in schools. That helps a little bit. It's a little bit less expensive. But at the end of the day, we need mental health support through people and perhaps some other means in our schools for our students. So with that, I'd like to close the press conference piece of this program. Thank you.